While looking at this map, I noticed Astrakhan right here to the side of the Tartarian Empire. So I began to dig into this name, and what I found fit in perfectly with what we have seen all over the world, where they have now changed its spelling. And a very interesting fact is that the ruins of this medieval, and there's that word again, where we know that medieval is just another name for the previous civilization. This medieval settlement were found by archaeologists 12 kilometers upstream from the modern city today, which is interesting. So what is going on 12 kilometers upstream, where there's obviously a clear attempt to trip us up? Changing locations, changing names. But we have found this location, and we are going to expose it right now. Where Zodiac was the capital of Astrakhan Khanate by the Astrakhan Tatars. When we click on the capital, the real location that was situated 12 kilometers upstream, we now know that we have found the true location. And then we can begin to find the truth, where they, of course, throw the fire narrative right in there, saying that in 1556, the city burned down by Ivan the Terrible, a ridiculous name and completely made up in my opinion. When we scroll down, we know that they got to this location, hiding something massive from all of us, hiding the past, changing its history forever. When in 1942, during our current timeline, this location was bombed and destroyed, which we've seen this so many times over the first 73. Now 74 episodes. We even saw it where they bombed the map in episode 70. This is a clear pattern, a clear exposure of what these wars and what these bombings were most likely used for. All in my opinion, of course, but based on hours and hours of facts. Clear manipulation of the mainstream history. Because what would we have found in this location before the bombings would have changed everything, showing us the possible truth. And if we follow the Volga River north, we are going to find the city of Volgograd. So let's zoom in here and see what they have going on, where this entire area, in my opinion, is 100% connected to Tartaria and the previous civilization. So right next to this modern arena, I want to show you all something that blew my mind. When you go up these steps and you walk along this path, you will see in the distance a massive statue of a lady holding a sword. And in my personal opinion, this monument, which is now named The Motherland Calls, is from the previous civilization, where its construction photos show a completed statue over and over. We even get a computer-generated photo, in my opinion, of a guy way out there on the hand, just to make it all look believable. It is massive. So here it stands today, and was declared the tallest statue in the world, standing at 279 feet, and also standing on top of a pyramid that is clearly covered by grass at this point. Misdirection, a magic trick, where they completely caused chaos in these years. Such a financial crisis, stock market crashes or wars, total chaos all over the world. And while this is all taking place, they remove structures or slide a new narrative right in. I will go into more detail about this in the future when we go into New York City. Thinking logically, let's read this together. The construction of the monument was supposedly completed in 1967. Why would they then, just 5 years later, need to do restoration work on the monument in 1972, when the sword was replaced by another entirely, consisting of stainless steel? In your opinion, do you think that this might have been destruction of the original monument? I personally believe so. What was on the original sword that was only there for 5 years? What was on that sword that we were not supposed to see? And you can see that these are not construction photos of the whole structure itself. These are the photos from them changing that sword. It's just incredible how the narrative is consistently manipulated in every single part of the world. Now, take a look at these stairs leading up to this thing, with the walls looking completely deformed and melted. and we've seen the melting in India. And you got other statues surrounding this place. Just a very interesting area. And I would love to know what is under that grass in the pyramid, below the statue itself. And we're just getting started. Check out this city. There are a lot more on the way today, including a city that is just north of this location, that holds a narrative that will expose something massive to the whole world today. Welcome to episode 74 of My Lunch Break. I hope you're all having a great day, and if you're new, welcome. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on Patreon. Thank you to FlatEarthDave.com. You can check out his app. I'll put the link in the description, and you can use my referral code, MLB. He also has My Lunch Break on the homeschool section of the app, which is really cool. Thank you to Rebecca K., Don Gaston, Christopher Arietta, The Lady Lacey Show, David and Sherry Ferguson, Edwin Johnson, Chuck Templeton, Joy Lee, PNR, Stephanie Nolan, The Burlesons, Suez KC, Dan Woodall, Dale, DJ Clicktrack, Edward and Brianna, Jacob Law, Jim Ribley and Christine Duggan, Kyle Glascock, Tim Rack, PKTFnews.org, Jay Malia, Regna Saturna, Dendries NL, Juana Mesher, Sirius Feline, G Power, Natalie Shippenoff, TheGoldenTeacher.co, Amberson EMC, Blake, HK Sue, Isaac Wright, Melissa Edgar, Biggles, Clayton Lamar, Ultimus Maximus, Noble Task Homestead, John Adams, Easy and Whitney, Roberts O'Zolins, Sarah Fenton, The Crypto Schizo, Rick Tapkey, Ryan and Laney Benner, The Arnolds, 3D6.Space, Attila Power, VKH Bonner, Rod James, Bell's Clarions for God, Forbidden Gecko Love, Justin Grobner Grubb, Leah Strong, Peter Batani, Dakota Dunn, Eric Martinez, Ivan Apoctoli, Jesse DeLeon, Jim Bro, Edwin Rice, Helmut, Charles Kruger, Glenn Gunderson, Pacific Crafted, HaggardT-shirts.com, Meta, Jason Hochberg, Marie C, ValleyMedicinals.com, Jason Neufeld, Old World Exploration, Kyle Logan, Bobo, ThePhoenixArt.com, WakeandBakeClothing.com, David and Irene, Michael Dingyu, Michelle Wilson, Patriot Armory, Tom O'Hara, Wayne T, Michael D. Connor, Hen Yardies, Victoria Lee, James Alt, Buxui, Code Dren, Big Pasty, James Kirk, Jason Prest, Suki Warrior, We the People, Dan McGee, Vince Moreno, Roz Matthews, Shiba Shaba in the Darkness. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. So up here on the top right, we have the Motherland Calls. And to show how incredible this area really is, down here at the bottom, I'll zoom in on it, we have the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, where you can see that the outside is incredible and the inside is extremely detailed. All constructed in the 1800s, we are told. And not only that, but we are also told that it only took them 3 years from start to finish. When we have seen in Edinburgh, Scotland, that it took them 6 years to make a little statue, just to give this awesome perspective. And again, renaming cities in 1925, changing the city's name to Stalingrad, and just understanding that the world that we are all in right now is so much more incredible than we are told, with the true history, in my opinion, being that a very powerful, extremely advanced group of people lived here where we are today, constructing massive palaces, leaving all of their work behind, and leaving it behind for all of us to see. With these wars and destruction taking place all in the 18 and 1900s, destroying most of it, to hide this incredible civilization from us, and rewriting the history worldwide, holding the exact same nods, the exact same clues of the game in every single country, all pulling the strings and working together. Is it possible it's all for confusion and misdirection, all for their benefit, trapping our minds for so long? And during World War II, Axis forces attacked the city, leading to the Battle of Stalingrad, arguably the largest and bloodiest battle in the history of warfare for our current civilization. total and complete destruction of the previous civilization's work, and total chaos for all of our civilization's families at that point. Stopping at nothing and going to the darkest of options, all to gain control. And they do this, where they attack these cities, they destroyed these people's lives, and then twist it back onto us and say that we are all heroes, when we didn't even have a say in the matter. We never did. We never even decided if we wanted the largest, bloodiest battle to ever take place. A battle that had casualties estimating between 1.25 million people and 2.5 million people in 1942. The city suffered heavy aerial bombardment that reduced most of the city to rubble, where the buildings of the past were shredded to pieces, where someone that's closing their eyes could see that they look identical to the Great Fires in all of these cities, where I think we can confidently say at this point that they do not look like fires at all. They look like they were attacked with bombs, and the casualty counts of 0 people in so many cities around the world in the 1800s Great Fires, such as the Baltimore Great Fire. I had to add this in after completing this episode because it needed to be shared. On February 3rd, 2024, we released episode 59, The Great Fires Hold Flaws. Episode 59 is on Rumble. If you want to see it in the full, unedited version, released on February 3rd, 2024, as you can see right here. And just 4 days later, on February 7th, 2024, the Baltimore Magazine puts out an article changing the narrative of the Baltimore Great Fire, where the original narrative told us that the Great Baltimore Fire caused no deaths. And 4 days later, after our episode comes out, now 1 person in the blaze, with 4 more succumbing later to fire-related causes. Now tell me what you think about this in the comments below. Now let's get back to the episode. The Toronto Great Fire, the Galveston Great Fire, and on are, in my opinion, the narrative just giving us the middle finger and getting the bombing campaign and 5 months of fighting that followed destroyed 99% of the previous civilization's work, of the population that knew the truth. Of more than 500,000 people, before the battle, only 1,515 people remained. And we know here that those 1,500 people were most likely sent to the local asylum, the insane asylum. The operation, the game that is played, using us as the players, is beyond clear at this point. We've gone over this multiple times, covering the insane asylums as well as the orphan asylums. You can check episode 52 out if you're interested in that. I want to take this moment and make sure that everybody here is also subscribed to our Rumble channel. We are also over on X. I also want to say thank you to all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every single subscriber, and everybody who's shared the episodes with other people. We are growing for a reason. The truth is very powerful, especially when we see that the Germans called this city hell on earth. And I'm gonna get pretty deep into all this in our hour-long episode coming up. Why I think a lot of these mass destruction events took place in the 18 and 1900s. An explanation that is interesting to say the least. And in order to find answers, we have to ask questions and be open-minded. With war under the ground, where we have shown with our tunnel episodes, our catacomb episodes, that there is just so much more going on under the ground than we can see. We fully understand at this point when they go on to say, yes, they fought at Stalingrad and underground dungeons, destruction of the previous civilization's underground work, telling us that there is at least 150 kilometers of tunnels underground with stable stone arches with the width of 2 horse-drawn carts. Massive tunnels. This is all quotes from the former German soldiers and officers that survived the Battle of Stalingrad. Hell on earth. Going on and closing his statement, saying the older the tunnels, the better they are made, giving us first-hand accounts where we are fully understanding that this is the truth, that the previous civilization was here, and a group wanted to destroy it in every single city around the world, and ripping this civilization out of our narrative. Understanding that anyone from our civilization, our timeline, that was here, that knew about the true past, were fully wiped out worldwide. And this is admitted, it is confirmed, and also confirmed is that many catacombs exist in this location today, where they are now filled with poison gas mustard, which is a grave danger to humans, keeping us away. And to take this a step further, mass destruction to the previous civilization and millions of casualties, possibly in so many cities around the world that we are not being told about through false statistics. What kind of group could do this? A group that loves us or a group that hates us? It is interesting that one of the German soldiers then ironically wrote in his diary that he had the impression that the command would like to get to hell and to call on the help of demons. Where if you've done this research for a while, we know that this is all still most likely going on today, that likes to put the destroyer out front in their yard, because that's just a nice addition to the place, just a nice gift. And they just name their dances the dance of destruction. And this is all very normal stuff. Any of us would have done it? No. And did any of us agree that we all want them smashing particles together? Because I must have missed that meeting. Switching back to the 1943 veteran, a group that we are told in his diary that wants to get the help of demons, a group that performed mass murder through bombings, calling it wars, and total destruction of the past, destruction of the buildings that were always meant for us. It's very interesting. A group that seems like they might be in a little season. So we'll get into that soon. If you've been following me closely on X, you will know what's on the way. And to show that they take this seriously, much more seriously than most of us ever realized, until recently, the same country digging the deepest hole in the world, the Kola Super Deep Borehole, shutting the project down in 1995, where the hole goes down 40,230 feet, or 7.6 miles, where they tell us it was to address key scientific questions that could give answers to some of science's biggest mysteries, where we know from first-hand accounts that these people were giving off the impression that they were trying to get the help of demons in 1943. And 11 years later, they start smashing particles together, trying to find the God particle, which they say they finally discovered on July 4th, 2012, which was right at the buzzer. Well, 1954, this starts. 4 years later, this group, with the help of this guy, where we know that he wasn't a part of the group of love, then 12 years later, they start digging and trying to get to hell. And remember, this is the exact years that we have discussed so many times with every episode, making this whole picture clearer and clearer. Now, we all know that this is episode 74, and you know what that means. It means that we get to have a bonus today. So switching gears, we are going to travel to Ethiopia and check out this monolithic church, now being called the Abunia Matica, and it's not your everyday church. This one is situated at a height of 8,460 feet and has to be climbed on foot to reach, where it is notable for its dome and wall paintings, dating back 1,600 years, supposedly. Again, making up any date they'd like, where this one is according to the local legend, where they just went over and asked the guy working at the local Walmart. This was his take on it. No, I'm kidding, of course, but shows that a local legend is not factual evidence. This is where it's located, And I want to remind you all, and we've seen so many times, just like in the Indian caves, where these may just be entrances to a melted overall structure. This could have easily been a massive palace, where nobody was climbing 8,460 feet in the air, traversing steep sandstone pinnacles and sharp sheer drops, just to enter it. A much better option for a church 1,600 years ago would have been on the ground. So saying that this entire thing is one massive structure would explain this much better, in my opinion, than believing that someone decided to build a church thousands of feet in the air during a time period where humans supposedly had nothing. I personally believe that if we were to remove the front layer of this thing, what we all can see, you would find more to the structure. I believe that you really would find a massive old world palace inside. And again, if this is the case, that this is one massive old world palace, how many more of these structures that we think are cliffs or massive rocks, how many more are actually palaces with rooms inside, just like they found in episode 73 in 1819 by accident, where the true history of this place is a total mystery. They start off by telling us that it was built in the honor of one of the 9 saints of the Ethiopian church, carved by Father Yameta 1,600 years ago. All documented in the local library. No, where it is, of course, not known why he chose such a remote location. They guess it's because he was evading enemies and capture, while others claim Yameta just wanted some peace and quiet, seeking solitude and isolation from the world, where the true history will forever be a mystery, except for the part where they definitely know exactly what happened 1,600 years ago, in the middle of nowhere, 8,460 feet in the air. Was this just a normal occurrence 1,600 years ago? Just climbing up 8,500 feet to make a church, all just to get some privacy? Was it possible that Donkeys Incorporated was keeping them up at night? I think 1,000 feet in the air would have worked. What do you think? So why go up 8,500 feet in the air to do this? This is ridiculous. According to all of these sources, including the Greek reporter, this is the world's most inaccessible church. When I believe that just like the Indian caves, these are just openings to a much larger structure, where we were going to end the episode right there, until I saw something massive pop up on my screen. Again, this church, located on a cliff, is located in Ethiopia, just 200 miles south. All in Ethiopia, we have the House of the Cross, a rock church that we are told is an Orthodox underground monolith church carved into rock. There are 2 churches belonging together, all served with one entrance, holding a rarely seen chapel at the western side. It can be accessed through the tomb of Adam. They can also access this location through a tunnel at the southern end of the courthouse. This location is named after the area where Jesus was buried, where it is believed to be the most important and holiest shrine in all of the churches in Lillibella. Now, was all of this carved into rock, like they say? Or was this one solid structure that now looks like a rock? I believe, in my opinion, this was a massive structure and has now turned into this formation. Between 2005 and 2009, the University of Cape Cod did over 1,200 laser scannings and acquired a 3D model of this entire place. They were able to find that this place was so much bigger underground, which in my opinion proves that we are correct, showing that this place was situated on ground level. These were not tunnels. And now, after an event took place worldwide, which we have seen countless times throughout our first 73 episodes, this event burying a lot of the previous civilization's work. Does this structure, the Bet Georgius, look like something that was covered by mud? Does it not resemble exactly what we've seen in India? When the mainstream tells us that these are carved into the rock, are we beginning to get closer to our true history? Are we beginning to see that the previous civilization's work, a lot of it, is not only in palaces that we can go and see, but also right below our feet, possibly in every single city in the world, possibly right below your feet right now?